First, please like and subscribe for more video. Forget the arrogant, spiked helmet of the parade ground. Forget the sweeping advance of 1914. By 1916, that war was a memory, a ghost that haunted the muddy corridors of the Western Front. We were not an army of conquest anymore. We were a wall, a living wall, protecting the fatherland. I want you to picture not a line on a map, but a deep, complex ecosystem of defense. Our positions on the Somme were a masterpiece of modern fortification. We did not cling to a single trench. We inhabited a labyrinth. There were 3, sometimes 4, main lines, one behind the other, dug deep into the chalk and clay. They were connected by communication trenches, a nervous system for the army, and protected by vast fields of barbed wire, so thick the British called it the Devil's Hat Band. Our dugouts were not mere holes. They were underground bunkers, understand, carved 20, 30 feet down. They had wooden frames, bunk beds, even stoves. To a man coming from the front line, they felt like a sanctuary. But we knew the truth. They were also potential tombs. A direct hit from a heavy shell could collapse the whole structure, burying a platoon in an instant. You learned to sleep with one ear open, listening for the specific whistle that promised oblivion. And then, the storm broke. It began not with infantry, but with sound, a sound that defied description. For 7 days and 7 nights, the British artillery poured fire upon our lines. This was the Trommelfeuer, the Drumfire. It was not the sporadic boom of a shell. It was a continuous, maddening roar that shook the very earth. The sky was never dark. It was a perpetual, flickering orange. The air was unbreathable, thick with cordite and chalk dust. No man could sleep. No man could think. We were men being hammered on the anvil of the Somme. We held, but the cost was unimaginable. We were not a wall of stone, but a wall of men. And men can be broken. We suffered from the same thirst, the same rats, the same relentless shelling. We saw our friends buried alive, torn apart, driven mad. We fought not for glory, but for the man next to us, for our section of the line. We fought because behind us was Germany, and the order was to stand. The Somme was not a battle we won. It was a battle we survived. We bled the British army white, but they bled us in return. The Lancers' wall had held, but it was cracked and crumbling, its foundations soaked in the blood of both sides. We had defended the fatherland, but we had learned a terrible truth. On the Somme, there were no victors, only survivors. And the survivors would forever hear the echo of the Drumfire in their dreams. We called the British artillery the Iron Harvest. It sowed death indiscriminately. But our orders were clear: Austrian, hold out, endure. When the shelling lifted on that morning of July 1st, an eerie silence fell. It was more terrifying than the noise. We knew what it meant. We scrambled up ladders from our dugouts, our ears ringing, our world reduced to a shattered landscape of craters and splintered trees. We manned the machine guns, the Spondaus. The Maskeningewehre 08 was not a rifle. It was a system of death. Water-cooled, fed by 250-round cloth belts, it could fire 450 rounds a minute. We saw them then. Lines of them. The British Tommies, walking, as if on parade. They say it was a slaughter. And in many places, it was. Our guns cut them down in waves. From our perspective, they were not men, but shapes in the distance, falling before our wire. We were not monsters. We were mechanics. We were the custodians of the killing machine. Load, aim, fire. Clear the jam. Change the barrel. Feed the belt. The gun would get so hot the water in the jacket would steam. The act was mechanical, a grim necessity to stop the tide from breaking through. But do not believe it was easy. Do not believe we felt no fear. For every position that held, another was overrun. The fighting in the trenches was a different kind of hell, Nahkampf, close-quarters combat. It was a world of sharp, brutal intimacy. The shovel was often more feared than the bayonet. In the confines of a trench, there was no room for a rifle shot. It was a struggle of fists, knives, and clubs in the dark, the air thick with the smell of blood and fear.